economic relations between Moscow and Beijing are becoming increasingly interlinked. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin reduced purchases from Western countries and increased from China. In turn, China receives natural resources from Russia at big discounts. The trade turnover between the countries has exceeded $200 billion this year.
China gains mainly on supplies of cheap raw materials from Russia: oil, gas, coal, wood, chipboard. And the second way is exports from China: machine tools, equipment and all those goods that Russia used to buy through other countries. China has turned into one big artery, through which goods from Hong Kong and China flow by sea and by aeroplanes.
One of the key niches that China has occupied in Russia is the car market, as Western car manufacturers are leaving the country after the sanctions imposed by the West against Russia. As a consequence, as Reuters notes, Russia has become the largest export market for Chinese cars, and if before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine their share was less than 10% of the Russian market, now it is almost 56%.
Nowadays, the Russian market is mainly filled with the Chinese car industry. Factories are trying to produce Chinese cars, but again, the depth of production has fallen. If before the factories had certain cycle, now it is about the simplest production, the assembly of cars. They just assemble the car from several kits. It's called a machine kit.
Reuters reports that Chinese car makers are trying to capitalize as much as possible on the withdrawal of Western companies, demonstrating Moscow's growing dependence on Beijing. In 2023, Chinese car exports reached nearly $9.5 billion, compared to just over $1 billion last year.
The fact that there is substitution with Chinese cars, this is not because Russia wants to attract manufacturers to it, but because the Chinese want to come in and take over the market, and they can afford it. Now it's not Russia that dictates the rules, but the Chinese dictate the rules by which they come in.
Experts note that despite the growth of trade turnover between Russia and China, this helps Russia only temporarily and makes it even more dependent on Beijing's supplies, which in turn pursues only its own interests.
Dear Chairman Xi, do you want the war to continue or do you want the war to end right today? I have no doubt that Chairman Xi would answer us that it would be better if the war did not exist. Then it would be possible to establish efficient supplies with Europe, trade with Europe through Belarus and develop the One Belt, One Road project, buy food, including the one from Ukraine, and invest in some projects in Ukraine, including the restoration of infrastructure.
While China exports its high-tech products to Russia, the Federation cannot fulfill its obligations to supply Beijing with electricity. According to the Kommersant publication, this is due to the technical condition of power grids and constant accidents. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.